So, the readiness checklist before booking any exam is as follows. The first thing that you have to do, where's my pen here, is before you book for any exam, you need to check whether you're able to explain why an answer is incorrect. You are not supposed to be guessing when it comes to PMP. You're supposed to be sure. So if you're not able to answer why a certain answer is incorrect, then it might mean that you might not be ready for the exam. Then the second item is you consistently finish the timed sets in the target space. What do we mean by this? So as you practice your PMP, just make sure that if you are taking an exam, say for 60 questions, you're expected to finish in 80 minutes. So make sure that in 8 minutes, 80, you're able to finish those 60 questions. If your practice is with 108 questions, then it means within 4 hours, you should be able to finish. If you're able to finish, then it means you're now ready for the exam. This is what I was doing actually. I used to practice a lot of questions, even if it's 30 minutes. Make sure you calculate your 1 hour, 1 minute, 15 seconds to finish your questions. Then also, you need to understand the servant leadership, which always calls for assess before you act logic. So what do we mean by servant leadership? It means you give the team the autonomy to choose how they want to deliver. Then you support them. We normally call it fetching the food and fetching the water for the team. So servant leadership is quite important, not dictatorship. So when you are preparing for PMP, just make sure that you understand what is servant leadership. Most probably, most of your questions will be coming with this mentality or in terms of how you're supposed to answer servant leadership. And then also assess before you act. This is very important. As a PM, even through my experience also, you shouldn't be able to, you should not just jump into action. Try to understand why something is happening. Say, for example, it's a conflict. You cannot just start by providing a solution without understanding what exactly is causing that solution, what is causing that conflict. It's normally called conflict management and root cause analysis. So it's very important to do that. Also, in terms of your readiness, you have to make sure that you can handle vague, word, and emotionally loaded scenarios. You might find that as we go through some of these questions, there are some questions which have a lot of information which you are supposed to understand. That is what is referred to here as being vague. You need to understand it, and also it will have so many scenarios, and then the question is going to be centered on a specific scenario. So you should be able to understand that. Then also, as you prepare for your exam, make sure that your weak areas, they're actually shrinking and they're not repeating. What do you mean by this? As you go through the start of PMP, as you start to practice some questions, you're going to find some weaknesses in some areas. It could be in a domain, it could be people management, it could be business environment, and so on and so forth. So the more you practice, the more you reduce these weaknesses, because you know which pockets and which areas to read. I used to do that. There are certain areas which I could see, for example, EVM, that the formulas were not sticking into my head as quickly as possible. So therefore, I had to force myself to repeat reading and reading and reading until I mastered it. So make sure that your weaknesses, they're actually shrinking, not repeating. And then should not be even increasing.